speak with a lot of executives, and lately I've been speaking with a lot of people that are saying some version of, I want to get better results, but I don't want to be pushy, or I don't want people to think I'm a jerk, or I want to get better results, but I'm afraid. I'm passive. I'm not going hard enough. I'm not tenacious enough. I'm not getting what I want. And neither of those really worked very well. So I want to talk a little bit about self-awareness. How we're perceived at work is really valuable, and we learn from that, right? But at the same time, if we're preoccupied about how we're perceived to such an extent that it becomes a distraction, disempowering, it blocks healthy assertiveness, then we have a different kind of problem. Or if we have a complete lack of concern about how we're perceived, that's a whole different kind of problem. So for the next 10 minutes or so, I want to talk about how to get results and be great with people. And sometimes we think we have to choose. Do I push for it, or do I make people happy? Do I get what I want, or do I have people like me? And I'm going to say we don't have to choose. So I'll have this be about getting results and being great with people, because we can all get great results and be great with people, and it's not either or. So I want to tell you a couple of stories about some of the people that I've been speaking to lately. And one was a very successful marketing executive. She worked for brands that you would know, and she was known in the company and by her colleagues as someone who's great at launching new products. Big new products, profitable new products. And she was told by the CMO of her last company that she worked for that she was one of the best marketing professionals the company had ever had. And guess what? They fired her anyway. And they fired her because when she wanted something, when the result was really important to her, she got pushy. And she was difficult to work with. And people had been telling her in some way or another her whole life, but she wasn't really getting it. So what she wasn't doing was she didn't get that she could get results and be great with people. I had another client who happened to be in marketing. He was the top marketing guy in a subsidiary of the Washington Post, and he was a new VP of marketing. His job was to boost sales. But he was afraid that if he proposed new marketing campaigns that would exceed the underfunded budget, he'd get fired. Because that happened to him before. So he didn't propose the new campaigns until he realized he was more likely to get fired for not hitting the numbers than for proposing the new campaigns. So he did propose the new campaigns, and that caused some very interesting but important conversations on the executive team about what results are we really committed to? Are we budgeting resources commensurate with the results we want? What is our strategy really? And what are we willing to do to have what we say we want and what we've promised to the larger corporation? So they did the initiative, and he brought in a few extra $1 million in sales. But it took something. It took some insight, and it took some getting past fear. Again, we can all get better results and be great with people, and it doesn't have to be a choice. So I want to share a few concepts. And the first is the value of showing respect in every interaction. Because respect is the foundation of a relationship, isn't it? And the results that we get are a function of our relationships. There's very little that we really do alone. So if we don't have respect, our results suffer. And as much as we think that we can fake it, we're all very transparent. And when we don't have respect for the people around us, they know. So if you're about to go into a conversation and you know you just don't respect this person, don't have the conversation. Don't. Find that place in yourself where you can find a way to honor that person. So when confronted with a challenge, do you tend to be passive, aggressive, assertive? And do you really know the difference? And some people don't. So let me share. let's all agree that passive is when your needs don't really matter much to you, but their needs are much more important to you. And you end up giving in and acquiescing and not getting what you want. And let's agree that aggressive is when your needs are super important to you and their needs aren't in the least bit important to you. And you push and push and push for what you want. You don't care if they don't get. And you're more likely to get, and they're more likely to get screwed. And let's say that assertive is when your needs are really very important to you, as they should be. And their needs are also very important to you. And what that requires is then understanding what the other person wants. And what it leads to is everybody getting more of what they want. And the third one, building on that, is not forcing outcomes. Instead, negotiate expectations, desired outcomes, actions. You know, people do what they want and only what they want. And when we try to use power to force someone to do something, they will resent us. And it will come back to bite us. So instead of forcing outcomes, the opportunity is to show respect for the other person, understand what they're looking for, and to negotiate. What works here? What can we agree on? What's the outcome that we can both align with? And it might take some extra time to create that understanding and to negotiate and have that extra conversation. And if you're thinking to yourself, that takes more time, I don't have time for this, you might want to think, does impatience ever get in your way from getting the results that you want? When we take responsibility for ourselves and how we interact with others, then we can find a new way to get results and be great with people all together and not choose one or the other.